Municipal Building Commission meeting of April 2nd, 2025 to order at 5:30 PM. And for the record, Andrew and Gail are not here. Everyone else is, so we have a quorum. Matt Crotty is here with us. We'll call on him in a minute. We have minutes from December 4th, January 22nd, and February 5th that need to be approved. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. I heard from Mark Zawatsky and LLB that they have nothing to report tonight on the library, but are getting ready to go. So
Oh, good.
that leaves us with water. Matt,
Thank you for having me.
well, thank you for being here with us.
Not a problem. Okay.
So we do have one bill, which is for the Pawtucket Water Interconnect to Waterline Industries, and that is also first on Brooke's listing of the agenda, so maybe you could start there.
Sure. So Pawtucket got tested to the system. We were successful. So we tested between Monday, March 17th through the 19th. We did 3 days of testing to the system, and it went, I think, smoother than anybody could have imagined. We didn't get one discolored water complaint. We had the signboards up. We did a lot of public notification, but we reached flows equivalent to what would have, gallons per minute, what would have been equivalent to 1 million gallons a day. And we had a couple hydrants, 3 hydrants going to alleviate if there were to be any discolored water, and everything went very smoothly with equipment testing, but also out in the system. I think that was, as good as we could have hoped for, to cause as minimal of disruption as possible within the water system. So that was definitely a positive. I had discussed a little bit in the past that requirements on pumping to the system per DEP, and I reached out to DEP regarding that because there would been some understanding that we had to pump to the system for a week. It was actually listed as 2 weeks back in, I think it was 2016 or 2018 in the original
A long time ago.
order of conditions. In talking with DEP, where things had gone so smoothly, we saw everything that we needed to see within those 3 days. I was able to put together a letter, and they no longer required us to do the 2 weeks to the system.
Good.
So we treated it as an emergency connection going forward. That'll be the case until May 14th. After May 14th, without extension, we would be, as of May 14th, we'd be out of emergency status with DEP. So that can only be used under the emergency status.
You know about the drought situation?
2 separate things. So we have the drought conditions, and then when everything transpired, we applied for emergency status with DEP. So that was a 6-month thing. So as of May 14th, we would be out of that. But due to that being an emergency connection, that's the only status we'd be able to use that under. So there is still some stuff ongoing with like computer screens, eye wash switches and stuff like that, little wrap-up type punch list items. But as far as us testing to the system, we've met what we needed to do, and so going forward, we would just be testing in a closed loop on a monthly basis, just to rotate the pumps and to make sure that they're exercised. And on a yearly basis, we'll check the valves in the street and that type of thing, just to exercise them. But for all intents and purposes, we've met our requirements to test everything and know it's working, and it's just a final fire inspection, electrical inspection, that type of stuff. But as far as testing, we're done.
So 8 or 9 years comes to a successful close.
Wow.
Kevin would be so proud.
So we have a bill for Waterline. Is that in order to pay?
It is in order to pay.
Move.
And is this a final, or is this not a final? Or what's the status?
It is not a final. We would still have There is still, I believe we would still need to remove the retainage and that type of thing going forward.
Okay, which leads me to the next question. Have we declared substantial completion?
I don't believe we have. We're right at that point where I
Okay,
believe they were looking, the discussion, next bill will look to knock back the retainage, but there was an issue with the flow meter. It's still readable, but it was dim, so they're gonna replace the flow meter. And that was something I wanted to see squared away before we saw any retainage move.
so typically we get a recommendation from the engineer, which firm was it that was?
CDM.
Yeah, so typically we get a recommendation from CDM to declare substantial completion as of a certain date, and then we vote to adopt as of that date.
Okay.
Which triggers then the reduction of retainage from 5% to whatever the monetized punch list is.
Okay.
So if you can keep that in mind
Absolutely.
and talk to CDM, then hopefully at our May 7th meeting, we can take that up if everything's in
Okay.
order.
Yep,
Excellent.
I will.
So, before we vote to approve the bill, any questions for Matt on this
I have
project?
two questions. What's the capacity of that pump house in an emergency? You're putting 1 million gallons a day for testing, but what is the upper limit?
The upper limit, we're approved for the 1 million, but it's sized in there where there's 2 lift pumps and each one of those pumps is capable of doing 2 million gallons each.
So that would be 4 million
So
a day?
they're pretty oversized pumps for what we're doing.
The other question is, how about chemical-wise? Do we have to do anything chemical-wise to the water that's coming in from Pawtucket?
We do, it's very minimal. There's some pH adjustment, so we're adding sodium hydroxide, and there is also corrosion control, so we're adding the liquid phosphate. But it's already finished water, so we're just fine tuning it. From state to state, from town to town, there's different ranges as far as, you know, what one town might do for chlorine or pH, or if they add fluoride, that type of stuff. So bringing up the pH slightly and adding corrosion control.
Okay.
Very minimal though.
All right, thank you.
Good. Any other questions?
I have a question. What constitutes an emergency for the use of this?
So we would have to look into the actual language of it, but typically it would be a water emergency if there was a large-scale fire, if you had some kind of a bacteria issue or something like that. I'd have to look into actually what everything spells out as far as what constitutes an emergency.
Okay.
But typically, that would be something, given the condition, as far as usually the way things go with DEP, we could act on the emergency and start the station. And usually it's a 2-day, as long as you notify DEP within a day, 2 days, and let them know what you did and why you did it moving forward.
Okay. I was just curious, you know how there's the levels that you have to meet? Like 1, 2, 3?
For drought levels, you're
Yeah.
talking? Yeah, so that's what gives us the opportunity right now to utilize it because of that DEP emergency status. But unless we ask for an extension, which we've made quite a bit of recovery with our watershed, unless we ask for that extension, May 14th, as of then, we would no longer be able to use this as a source.
Okay, thank you.
My memory is that this was designed to cover both natural and man-made disasters. So,
Drought
God
doesn't.
forbid somebody put something in Orr's Pond and, you know, fooled with our water system. A water tower fell down, you know, something that we just couldn't deal with quickly. This was designed to keep the city running, if my memory is correct.
Correct.
And hopefully none of those things will ever happen.
Absolutely.
But it's always better to be prepared than unprepared.
Correct.
Like you said, it's been a long time coming, so it's nice to clear this hurdle.
I think it was 2016 when we first started talking about this, so it's good.
Kevin.
Okay, so we need to approve Waterline Industries application number 14 in the amount of $29,771.59. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so as you may be aware, we have mapped out the rest of this month for you. So next Wednesday, we are going to shortlist those to interview for the OPM.
Okay.
And we would certainly welcome your participation in that. What we're going to do typically is to reduce the number of applicants to be interviewed to 3. Sometimes if it's close, we do 4. And so we are going to deliberate and determine which are the top 3 or 4. And your input on that, and Matt Barry, if he's available, is also certainly welcome, because
Okay.
we all are fairly experienced at this and know how to read these applications, but you have a very different perspective, and we value that. So then, on the 16th, you get the night off because we have school building committee that night.
Okay.
But then on the 23rd, we're going to hold the interviews.
Right.
And again, interviewing those top 3 or so is important. And then we understand the bids are coming in shortly thereafter, correct?
Correct.
And so that's why we've scheduled a special meeting for the 30th, because we didn't want to wait till the 7th to recommend the lowest eligible and responsible bidder to the mayor to sign a contract.
It's a busy agenda.
Yes, and then a regular meeting on May 7th, so it's like 6 Wednesdays in a row that we're meeting, but not, you don't have to be here 6 times. But I think that the short list, the interviews, and then the night of the recommendation, if Matt is here or on Zoom or whatever, and he just wants to say, hey, we got these bids and we checked them all out, and whether you want to be here or not, entirely up to you, or be on Zoom, entirely up to you. But we want to make sure that the person that we recommend the mayor sign the contract with is truly the lowest eligible and responsible bidder.
Okay. Glad to be part of the process.
Yep. So, with that all as a preamble, anything else you need to tell us?
Ozone. Was ozone on the chillers on the agenda?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Is that a project we're supposed to be taking on?
That's right. Okay. I'm thinking conservation stuff.
Excuse me?
I was thinking conservation stuff. We have an ozone project where chillers are being relocated outside.
And is that on the Concom for tonight?
I was under the impression it was, but I'm not. I'd have to check.
Usually the agenda is posted around the corner on the bulletin board.
Okay.
But no, that's not a project that we have been asked to
Okay.
oversee. So, not that we wouldn't if someone asked, but no one has asked us
We
yet.
do everything.
Yeah.
The last time you talked to us about the temporary PFAS, we were waiting on media delivery.
Media, yeah, we're still pretty much where we were.
Just waiting on it. And so are we still?
Looking at a time that is best to,
Okay.
where we're in the emergency, we're gonna be reviewing on, where there is a bit of a lead time on rescheduling that, but it's gonna be conversations that are gonna be happening.
And we're still okay on PFAS at this point?
Yes, yes.
Another bit of, you're all good news tonight.
I could use it.
And then, what's the date for that the bids are being received on the permanent PFAS? Do you remember?
So I would have to check.
It's sometime after our meeting on the 23rd, but before the meeting on the 30th.
Right.
So it's somewhere, I think it's like the 24th or some day, 25th, whatever it is, we figured it would give enough time for you guys to check the qualifications of the bidders. So we'd meet on the 30th. So, anything else you need to tell us?
No, I think we covered a good amount.
Okay. Very good. So thank you for being here. And we'll see you next week. And unless anybody has any questions? Oh, I guess we should always ask the question. Are we topping over?
We're just about there. We're just about there. We were 145.6 yesterday. So,
145.6?
correct.
That's
We
good.
need to get to?
146, depending on what we have in for boards, but
So we're
146 is.
half a foot away.
Correct.
You are good news tonight.
It's been a lot going on. It's good to get some stuff off the plate and be able to focus on some other things, because it's,
Yeah, you know, I mean, when you spend your day putting out fires, you don't have time to think about the broader issues, right?
it's been a lot of projects and then just the yearly requirements with reporting and that type of stuff, so
Good.
getting some of the heavy lifting off and be able to focus on now it's budget time, so.
And Mason's back in 2 weeks, we hear.
Okay. I hadn't heard an official time frame. I know things have been kicked around, but that's good to hear.
Yeah,
But it's
the
been
last-
nice that Barry's
The last
been-
Brooke told me April 13th, but again, I don't know whether he needs a day or two to decompress before he comes here. But I understand Barry Lacasse has been in a couple days a week helping
Right,
out.
yep. I just met with him today. It's been great to have him as a go-to.
Yeah, there's probably no one more uniquely qualified to fill in than Barry.
I would agree.
So, all right, good. So, thank you. Then, unless we have anything else to do, we should adjourn at 5:47.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.